Hello and welcome, guys. We are here watching LegionDestroyer versus xuanet, and this is streamed on a small delay to ensure that the players won't use the stream to get any suggestions from me for their game. Not maybe it won't even help them because they're stronger or equally strong as me, but it's just to ensure a fair game. And well, we have a very interesting matchup for us. We have LegionDestroyer, who has become very strong in recent years, and we have xuanet, who has reached, I believe, 2900 as his highest rating. He's just a really strong player who's been around for a long time, and normally is rated a bit higher. So yeah, I think xuanet is the slight favorite because of that. And it also looks like from his first few moves as he has prepared something, especially for this match, or maybe just for the Crazy House World Championship in general. So yeah, we have this setup where he lets take on e5 and then tries to regain the pawn in some other way, or make Legion take on d6 and then recapture with the bishop, and yes, quicker development. So Legion out of book, so he's playing on his own. I think that's a practical choice by xuanet. LegionDestroyer is a really well prepared player, I guess. This is a nice idea. He was going to lose the pawn anyway, or he had to take on d6, and now by going e6 he creates opportunities on f7. If the king took this, there was knight g5, and making him sack the queen or lose this knight on g4. So now the king is on e7 with the bishop here and the queen here, and that's, well, sort of a victory for LegionDestroyer, because the king is really awkward now. And he's already threatening to take this knight, or this one, and to go knight at g8. And with the bishop and queen here, knight at g8 is a checkmate in 2, where you have to take with the rook, you promote to knight, and then there's only e8 as square left, and then you put another pawn on f7. So okay, knight f6 covers g8 a bit, and it also prevents taking here. So now there are a couple of options. You could try to go for e6 by pawn at d5 or f5. You could also try queen f3 to sack your queen here, but there might be some brave king walk then. So there are some options to consider here. High nightmare, Gryphon. So he's going after e6, and I think that's indeed a good choice. It does open up the bishop maybe, but then again it also opens up f6, and it gives chance to take this knight, lure this bishop away from this diagonal, and then put the knight on f5. Okay, now the logical move would be to take on e6. Maybe bishop at c3 is also a nice move. Yeah, he played it. So you definitely can take a knight next, and that will be really strong. I think bishop at a5 probably, or at least covering this knight somehow. But if you go bishop at a5, you can take it back with check. He decides to sack the knight on d5. Now you could try knight at f5 or knight at g8 to attack the king, but the king seems to be okay on d8. What you'd really like is another pawn, so you can try pawns here. So xuanet putting up a defense, but our Legion has found a nice idea. He wants to go knight at c8, I guess. Then win a rook to play rook at e8. And in the chat, Fumitok suggests knight at g8 and queen takes d5 also being really strong. That's a nice suggestion as well. So here we have, for example, queen takes d5 coming if you take. So I think he's contemplating king d8, but then queen takes d5 anyway, because if you take, there's knight at e6 winning the queen, since there are no squares left. And after you win the queen, there is checkmate, most likely. Okay, so knight at g8 now has to be played, or knight at c8, also possible. Yeah, it's less forcing indeed, Opper, as Opper is saying in the chat. It could be that I'm seeing your chats a bit late, since I'm running on a delay. Okay, but the idea is here, if queen takes, you get... thought rook at e6 was also... rook at e6, just king d7, so this is the way to go. Now rook at e8 is hardly... it's unstoppable. And here he has to just play quick. There's no mate yet. So he's surviving on h5, but h takes g4 is a really strong threat. Really nice nice survive by xuanet till this moment. But pawn at h5 still followed by knight e6. Don't know how you're gonna stop that. Oh, I like this move because now this is with check and covered. So yeah, now you can take here and go knight e6. Legion opting for this, which is fine as well. He is in no danger of getting checkmated, and he will checkmate himself. He finds it. Alright. With just too many winning variations there. Legion could have executed more cleanly, but this is fine as well. Alright. e4, e5. I guess this is going to be a theoretical discussion. Oh no, xuanet goes for d3, which is kind of a quiet move. Normally castles in d4. That's a bit in fashion these days. You have to know a lot of forcing lines, which I guess xuanet doesn't know or is not aware of. Or he is, at least I would expect that Legion is better prepared in those lines. So I wouldn't go into those lines in a serious match against LegionDestroyer. So yeah, first game to Legion, and you can see in the spectator room chat that people are saying the score between them doesn't reflect their today's strength. It doesn't indeed. Legion is up and coming, you could say. But still, xuanet is very... he is an elite player and also a good match player who made it to the candidates last time around. So I think we're up for a tight match. And this king h8 idea, you can see it in more e4, e5 lines, where you want to go rook g8. But now it seems slightly too late, or you have to be okay with parting with your queen. Something like this. Let's rook g8, bishop takes f6, probably too strong. Because queen at h6 at some moment was threatening checkmate and nasty stuff. Okay, and so now you get another knight at h5, and you attack f6. You can also think about taking first with the bishop to provoke queen takes f6 and then knight at the h5, and if you take with the king to prevent the fork on your queen and king, you get knight at h5 and the king cannot run back, so the king is stuck on g6. So yeah, but I think this is forcing as well. Hey, thanks for the raid, Microsoft Chess. Welcome. So the king moves up into the danger. Yeah, thanks, I will. But still, taking on f6 is really strong, and now the king is on g6. Yeah, with the king on g8, it would also have been devastating. I just think this is going xuanet's way. Maybe you could try for some knight at f4 ideas, where if you sack the queen, knight takes g2, but even then the king can just run to d2. So I guess you have to sack the queen. And now if you take the knight, there's bishop at g5. Winning, I guess. So he goes for bishop at g5 himself. And now you have to calculate queen takes h5, queen h5, queen takes g5. Yeah, and he sees it h4, queen at g5 is made because these pawns and bishop block the king's retreat. Well, it's a quick spot by xuanet. I think xuanet pre-moved knight f6 there almost. Felt like. So we have this d4, e5. Setup by white. And the main issue in this setup is usually this bishop. Where to put it. It's going to g4 now because Legion played with knight f3. There are some variations where you put your knight on e2. But xuanet opted for a quick a6, so the bishop cannot go to b5. Thank you for the follow at 2020 Super Bowl. So here this seems like it's a fine line for black, where he has no bishop on b5, he has his bishop on g4, while the knight is not on e2, so no f3 ideas. Where you have the knight on e2, there's f3, bishop h5, knight g3, or knight f4. And now the bishop is nicely put on g4. So Here you have the option of going bishop h5 back taking or h5. So yeah, xuanet is bound to go for the most aggressive move. And here, if you take you take back, of course, and then let's say knight h2, queen h4 is the idea. So Legion is preventing that for now, or he's not taking on g4 for now, and he's just developing. And now the knight is removed from e4, and if it has to be replaced, of course. Otherwise, you can take on g4 and go knight g5, and the queen can no longer go to h4. So here you have c3 on prise, queen e1 might be an option. But you might run into some trades then, and then your queen is a bit weird on e1. He's really trying to open things up. So you could just repeat here and go for a draw. And I think Legion was fine with settling for a draw there, especially with this time situation. But xuanet won't have it and goes bishop at f5, preparing some knight takes f2, I guess. A lot of possibilities. I think queen takes f5. I think queen takes f5 was interesting as well. It went really quickly. Queen takes f5 and then maybe e6 ideas. Then, or maybe queen at h1 was too tricky. And now you would really like to play your knight to g5. So I think here the move might have been rook takes to go knight g5 next. But okay, this happened. So what to do here? Maybe bishop at h4 to attack the queen. Or just bishop h4. E takes f3 is rather problematic though. Because, yeah, now there's this hole on g2. Knight at f4, pawn at g2 might save. Okay, so he's trying to attack here. Knight takes f3 as well. I think this was a good idea, because now he's just going to develop, and that's usually the wise thing to do when you only have a queen in hand and you don't see a concrete attack. Just try to develop your pieces, because you will need them. Okay, so he moves his king to d7, which is a fine square, as long as e6 is safe. And knight at c5 is not to be feared, I guess. These dark squares are just a mess. Knight at e2 and bishop at somewhere. Ooh, there might be some trickery here. The rook on b7, forcing some tricks. But yeah, he's now Legion is losing. Right, nice game by xuanet. And it was just about the setup that Legion played that xuanet got him there. Alright. They're both going for b pawn, bishop b7 and b2 idea. And both picking the same setup, although Legion has been slightly more aggressive with this b pawn. But xuanet's last game was very convincing. Probably if he keeps that level up, Legion will have a very tough time. Okay, so this is what you usually do in these lines. You try to open up the bishop, and this is a nice idea. GS Bolt asking why they're not playing theory. I think xuanet is not playing theory because he fears preparation by Legion, which I get, but I think there's that Legion knows a better way to fight against b3. I guess you just something with e5, for example, would be much more testing to b3 than what he played. Okay, so yeah, exactly, GS Bolt. That was what I'm trying to say. Just try to go e5 against b3, pick up the center. Okay, so let's try to focus on this position at hand. Okay, knight takes b7 is coming, and then white can try to trade off this bishop, I guess. Because this bishop is really strong defensive piece. Because normally without this bishop you would like to go knight here and attack on g7. So it's just trying to repeat this bishop here on f6. And this is a really interesting moment in the game, because I would say it looks rather equal. It's just about how and where you put your pieces and when you start defending as black, because white is the one trying to attack now, and when you try to take over. So here Legion decided to go for a bit more of attack instead of defending the bishop again. He's going for an attack against f3, and maybe he wants knight at c3 next. So if this works, the most of the lines after, for example, bishop g5. Then this should be really good for Legion. I think knight at c3 now. And this is looking really good for black indeed. He can win the queen. And I think bishop at d3 was a good practical decision if he doesn't get mated here. I like knight at c3 again because you want the bishop for h3. In a later stadium. Probably now. Bishop h1. There was also knight takes f3, but that might be a bit too soon. But it isn't a possibility. And there's also possibilities of going queen takes f3 in some lines. Because you have the queen in hand, so if the white's defense opens up, you will get enough. You will have enough material. So xuanet trying to figure out the defense, he has to be precise. And with this time running down, I don't think he is going to find anything. Okay, so 2-2. xuanet just running out of time. He could have lost connection. But I think it was losing anyway for white. Because yeah, how to defend against this? Let's see if there was a defense. The computer is suggesting knight at f4, but it's also saying that that there's a huge advantage for black. So yeah, as GS Bolt was saying in the beginning, why not go for a main line here, like e5, something like this. Just grab space. And I would trust Legion to also know a bit of lines here. So yeah, why not go after that? Okay. Alright, slight short break, but now we're back on track. 2-2 so far. And just a reminder, it's first to 5.5 points. And if it's 5-5, they will play a tie break, best of 2, until there is a winner of the match. So Legion going for e4. And let's see, xuanet last game had a really nice game with d5, knight f6, bishop g4 line. But now he's opting to go with an e4, e5, and Legion not going for d4. Probably he's going for knight g5 here. And this I've played against this against Legion. He knows this, I guess. I'm more familiar with bishop e3 and knight b5 ideas, but I guess Legion knows this because he's playing it all on his increment. And David in the chat is saying that the lone wolf used this to crush meta ace. So let's look at some tempting ideas here. Knight takes h5, knight takes h7. Followed by queen h5. Okay, he goes queen h5 immediately. Ideas if you take here, take, queen takes g5. There's a lot of threats against the king. You have to at least take once. Don't think h6 is something. h6 probably runs into knight takes e6. So he takes twice, and now maybe we'll get a sacrifice of the queen if there's a bishop here. You have to calculate that. Because there's this take, knight at h6, king h8, bishop at g7, knight at h5. That has to be calculated, and the problem for black is that also this knight can be taken anytime. But then again, if you give away a knight, there's also knight h3, knight f3 ideas for black. So yeah, you have to calculate this. And it's also kind of, if you go back, then black can sort of untangle, maybe with knight d4. Ah, yeah, that upper suggesting. Yeah, it is an entire sleeve. It's saying is knight h3 is still a problem. Yeah, there's just, if f2 is not covered, knight h3 is always a problem, basically. Because of the smotted mate. Now it's not a problem because you can take it, but if you go for bishop at g7 and knight at f5, you give another knight away, then you still might be able to take it. You could also try maybe knight h5, but okay, bishop at g7 seems it's the most forcing line. King takes g7, knight at f5, bishop takes f5, knight takes f5, king g6, and then take this one, and then then you get checkmated indeed. So this is a nice idea. He wants to take on f6 and he covers the checkmate. So queen g6. It's looking dangerously at g2. So knight here. It's now a threat, and time is a problem. Knight at f3. Yeah, this is over. I'd say because of time only. Bishop at h3, I guess. Yeah, I think he had to take c6. It's also saying in the chat, and Opera is also suggesting it. But now it's just xuanet is taking a lot of time. That gives Legion some time to think, but okay, he's taking some pieces. But yeah, now bishop at h3 comes, and the attack on g2 is coming, and that should be over. Pawn at h3, rook at g1, only defense. And now take all basically. Knight takes. Oh, this is even prettier. This is a forced mate. Because the rook is pinned, and if you move the bishop away to use the rook on a1, you get mated on g2. Okay, so now we have some theoretical line where Legion is going for an older line, knight e5, which I seem to recall is bad for white. And you have to go knight f6, d5. But maybe he has found some resource with pawn at h3. But the lone wolf is commenting that this is not a good line for match play. If white knows what he's doing. Okay, so I wouldn't know what to do, or at least not the theoretical knowledge. Seems a good idea to harass this knight before you do anything further. So the bishop is placed on g5 to prevent queen g6 entering g2 later on. But it's also vulnerable to h6 maybe. And there's maybe bishop h5 winning the queen somehow. Bishop h5 probably takes on g2. Yeah, Opera saying it's good to play an old line sometimes, because people tend to forget those. Yeah, especially it's good. It's sometimes a good match strategy. I wouldn't dare to play it against if I had, yeah, I wouldn't dare to play it against someone like the finisher or something. Yeah, GS, who is the lone wolf, by the way, if you didn't know, is saying in the chat that xuanet may not have prepared this, but if he had prepared for the match, he would have known that Legion plays this line a lot. Okay, here you have to consider this. If knight takes c4 just takes here, and king d2 is, or bishop f1. No, just king d2 is being played there. So yeah, h take g2 was possible, but I guess just rook g1 was coming, and he wants to leave the option open to sack the queen maybe. Okay, the queen is being pushed around now, and xuanet tries to develop pieces in the process. Only thing Legion has pawns in hand, and xuanet has nothing, so that's nice for him. Okay, it seems like queen a5, b4, queen b6, bishop e3 is something xuanet wants to develop some more pieces. He wants knight d5, bishop b5, I guess. And the idea here is that you can take on c7. By the way, if you lose the queen at d8 is checking a lot of lines as well. So yeah, this is looking to be 4-2. And the queen, yeah, bishop d7 can't be it as well, because then you take the queen and knight takes c7 and takes the rook, and there's just nothing. You could even go pawn d7 first. Or queen takes d6. So xuanet is thinking about queen takes d6 or pawn d7, I presume. I guess he just had to check if he gets checkmated, because now blocker knight takes is just really strong. Or just even taking the queen, also possible. Now bishop takes c7 and pawn at d6 is mating. Queen is sufficient as well. Knight takes b6, knight takes a7, knight b6 was also on, but just queen c7 is easier. Alright, so xuanet takes 4-2. Legion going for a sideline again. Or maybe this is main now, I don't know. So knight h6, knight h6, knight f5 is an idea. You can also leave the knight on h6 to try to open the g file. But Legion just going for bishop b5, which is usually a very strong move in these lines. It does allow indeed the bishop to go to g4. And now I think you have to go knight e2. I feel like this is a stronger square for the knight in these pawn structures. And if black doesn't play e6, white will play e6. So xuanet thinking here. And this is always a sort of dilemma, because you don't want to play e6 because it weakens your position. Really now, by the way, with the bishop coming on h6, but if you allow white's e6 you will also have a very tough time. So I think taking on e2 was premature maybe. Better right, knight e6. I think c3 would be okay here. An entire sleeve asking if knight h6 is a thing in Backhouse. I don't know, it could be. But I don't. In high level Backhouse, I think playing the French is not to be advised, because it allows a lot of weaknesses. For black in any case. For example, if we have this position here, taking here and a knight on h5 and a pawn on f6 with a lot of material coming for your partner would be annoying. But yeah, it really depends on the flow of pieces. So yeah, c3 would be the slow move, but then knight f5. But I like c3. Die Blauw is now suggesting bishop at h6 as a move. We can take on c6 and then take on d7. But yeah, bishop at h3, and xuanet reluctant to sacrifice the piece. And now Legion is going for an attack on b7 and c6. Basically winning some material, but it gives black some freedom as well after queen b8. You can go pawn at a6 to restrain the play, but now yeah, you allow bishop at b5 and there's some play again. He has spotted the trick. Okay, I missed this. If you take the queen, there's pawn at d7, taking here. And then pawn at c6 again. And I think you will run into mate there as black. But xuanet is probably calculating that now. Pawn at d7. King takes, rook takes. What do you have in hand? A bishop, a knight, and a queen. So bishop at c6. If you don't take, it's mate, so you have to take the bishop on c6, and then knight at a5. King d7, king d8. Could be safe. I think it could be safe to take the queen, but he doesn't go for it. I think I calculated it to safety there for black, but now he went this way. Yeah, I thought so too, upper, that bishop at c6 was going to mate, but I think you can be safe on d8. Because you have no extra material, only the knight and queen. Since you have the pawn already on d7. Ah yeah, you're finding it out yourself. Okay, but now we have a line where xuanet probably is in a bit of trouble. Or at least it looks like it. But maybe knight at c2 and knight at e6 or something like that. Okay, now he's going to play for knight at d4. Or at least thinking about it. That would be, but then you could sacrifice the queen on c6. So I like queen at d4, it's a nice decision. Because now you have safety and you're also threatening knight at d3. So queen at c3. Not to take on d3 if knight at d3, but just to go king d1 or king f1. Queen is then covering, but you're also attacking here. So he keeps on throwing the queen trades on Legion. I think if you have time, you have to play e6. He goes for e6 now because he's in time trouble. And he feels like he should be safe here. Knight at d3 covers knight e5, so that's okay. And next, this pawn can push, this bishop can go here maybe. So it's not so easy for white. But then again, it's also not easy for black here. Knight takes d5, queen at d3. This looks really dangerous. He can take the knight. Where's the mate? Close. Can also take the queen if you're not sure. Knight at c4, okay, that's nice. That wins. If the king moves up, bishop at c6, king here, bishop e3 takes checkmate. Okay, nice game by Legion. Yeah, it was critical. That xuanet took a lot of time there to calculate if he could take the queen, but he decided not to. The investment of time was after that not so great for his remainder of the game, and he could just have taken the queen, I believe. Yeah, this is a line which is supposed to be good for white. And I had this line yesterday, but I forgot you had to play d5. But d5 is really a nice move here. The idea is to leave the knight in front of your king. It's actually not doing that much harm. It cannot check you. It's not attacking anything. And the knight cannot retreat to f4. In the meantime, you're just going to go after e6. And this is a line xuanet does know. And now there's a lot of threats of taking material. So this looks like it's going to be a win for white, a quick one. Okay, but queen e7 is something xuanet doesn't know, or just remember to play d5. And now he is on his own. So yeah, a couple of options. You can take on c6. Can go bishop g5. And yeah, I don't know what to do. I think I would take on c6. Oh yeah, this is nice. Bishop pawn at b7, and you can go pawn at d7. And then knight a5 maybe. Or knight f5. Yeah, queen e7, an entire sleeve saying queen e7 is blocking e1 as well. With the knight, yeah, so rook e1 is not on. Yeah, that's one of the ideas. And you want to prevent the knight from c3 to move. So if, for example, let's say it goes to a4, pawn at e2. It's also one of the ideas. So I think you have to do something with knight f5 and bishop g5. I don't know which move order. Don't know. Just pawn at f6 seems logical. And then if knight f5 comes, you have to think about it then. And you also have to watch out for ideas with knight takes c6, checkmating. So here maybe queen c5 to pick up the bishop. Queen c5, knight takes b7 seems okay. Queen c5, there might be queen e2. That looks really dangerous, but maybe just the idea is that if you take the queen, there's bishop, knight takes queen. But I think you can just go king takes d7 in that line. Okay, he defends c6 in this way, but I think queen c5 is slightly more how do you call it? Slightly more aggressive. Dutch is saying b4 after queen c5 to lure the king away from c6. Yeah, that's a nice move, b4. Good suggestion. Okay, so now you want to trade queens and then knight takes c6. Okay, bishop at h3 is a nice move. You can just pick up the knight if you don't find anything. Probably he didn't find anything, so that's a nice check. And now you can think about his second wave of attacks. Knight at e5, for example, is a threat here. If you take twice, there's queen at e7. So I think knight at e5 is to be played. And note that the bishop is also guarding this diagonal, so let's see. Knight at e5, pawn takes, knight takes, bishop takes, queen at e7, king c8, pawn at d7 promotes, wins. Yeah, this is mate. Oh, he goes with queen at c6. That's also fine. Or fine. It's mating quicker. I saw this mate here on e7, but this is a few move quicker. Okay, so Legion is on a must-win situation here if he wants to win the match. And he's going for c4, not c3. And usually we don't see a lot of early c pawns in the opening because it weakens the c2, c7 square. But of course you can try this. xuanet reacting in a natural way, I'd say, with e6, d5. The problem is that you don't develop this way, so you're really vulnerable for attacks on f2 quickly. I like d4 by xuanet. With knight e4 there's already ideas of bishop b4 combined with knight takes f2 and pawn at e3. So yeah, here's something to think about. Maybe just knight takes d4, e3, d4. But that's also saying that xuanet won the opening. So he's trying to look for something active. So you can react with the blocker on f6 here, you can bishop e7, you can also go queen d7 even. Hey Presco. So okay, xuanet taking his time here. He was contemplating the queen sack because he has a nice attack on these squares, but queen a4 is a good check, I think. Because if you block with bishop d7, let's say bishop d7 or bishop at d7, you take d4. So knight c6 was kind of forced to preserve this pawn chain. But now d1 is freed. So if takes, you can run to d1. So I guess knight d5 is something you should think about here. Knight d5, bishop at b4, king d1, knight takes f2, king c2. Looks messy, but I think the king is rather safe on c2. There's also just bishop at b4 taking, but yeah, that would give another knight in hand, and the knight is doing a nice job of looking at c7 and creating threats of queen takes c6 later on. Let's say xuanet goes for this line, and knight takes f2. The knight is run away from the defense of f6. So bishop at a5 is maybe the way to go, but then you have to calculate if the queen sacrifice wins, and it might win for white. So I guess that's what he's thinking about. With bishop at a5, you just take, knight takes. Okay, he goes for bishop at b4. He wants bishop at d2. So I think just king d1 still. Knight takes f2, king here. Because in a lot of lines there's queen takes c6 winning the game. And you cannot go queen takes b4 because of bishop at d2, I guess. But maybe that's also fine. But I think king d1, king c2. Yeah, he's going for it. Nice. Because there's so many threats now. And now you can take on, now you can take on b4 because the bishop is used. You have to watch out still, because now your queen goes to c6 and there are some issues with knight b4. You have now time for knight at f6, forcing bishop takes, pawn takes. And the king is safe on c2. So let's go back on, I wasn't not criticizing c4, but just saying it's not been played that much, and now it's useful because there's no pawn on c2. Okay, this is brave, but I think just king b3. You cannot take, of course, because you lose the queen with check. And then queen at d2 is sufficient. Queen at f5 to go in. Okay. Why queen takes d4? Oh, that must be a brain fart. Queen takes d4. I don't know what Legion was thinking there. Wow, 6-3. I guess, I don't know, I guess they play another one for the 10th game, but 6-3 to xuanet, but Legion had that game for sure. Oh, that's a bit of an anticlimax. Would be really nice to have seen this series go to 5-4. That's sad for Legion. Okay, and finally he plays theory, or mainstream theory. And xuanet plays a line which is supposed to be good for black. If G is Bolt / the Lone Wolf is still watching, he would be cheering now, or maybe weeping, because it's too late for Legion. Yeah, so it takes d5 and the pawn here and just defend everything. Could go knight at g4 or knight at g5 ideas, but I think black has enough material now and white has too little. Okay, so he's going for some knight. Okay, he goes knight e5, so he can take on c6. Yeah, here there's this trick where you win the queen with bishop h6, knight f7. But I think you only have the queen then as white, so I think this is slightly more challenging for black. Queen e8, okay, you want some bishop c5, so taking, and he also in the meantime covers f7. That's also useful. So some problems for xuanet here. So it's going bishop takes d5 to provoke Legion into trading some pieces as well as defenders. But he just goes bishop to b4 to check and make xuanet use a pawn. Pawn d7 is the nice aggressive place for the pawn. Okay, so you have to watch out for pawn at f7 here. So it takes on d5 with the knight. That's brave, because the queen can come into d5 now. You could also just go to d4. Because there are some checks. Maybe queen d4 now. Well, bishop f6, pawn at f6, and there's this pin still, so queen d4 probably not it. But pawn at f7 is an option. Yeah, this is all again looking to go Legions of xuanet's way, I should say. what to suggest here. Seems tough to find the defense. Maybe some weird bishop c5, bishop takes f2 line, but even then the king is probably just safe on d1. So yeah, he trades, but now knight to d5, queen at d7. Must win. Queen at f7, I mean. Okay, queen at h6. If he goes to g7 and knight f7. Alright, congrats to xuanet. Well played. But this game was critical, where Legion missed a lot of chances. Let's switch over to the brackets to see what this means. I think they were all the way down. So we have xuanet moving on to the 4th round, and he will play the winner of Sec versus Dabi next, and Legion will move to the losers bracket. 191, let's see what it is, and he will play the winner of MRT versus Variant Bunny. Okay. That was a nice match. Thank you all for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.